Welcome to the front porch now.
Welcome to our front porch.
Oh, look at it. Oh, I have texture.
Bangs.
Oh. When I was in the 6th grade and I was growing my bangs out, this is where it was, and I didn't know what I was doing. I just wanted no more bangs, so I was like, but now it looks because I'm like, okay.
No, it looks fine because I'm not in the 6th grade.
Oh, man.
6th grade was a rough year.
6th grade, I had grown out my mullet finally, and I was getting rid of my bangs. My mom said, we didn't call it a mullet then. It was short in the front, long in the back, so you could play.
So you could play. Yeah. Party. Party.
In the front. No, business up front, school up front, and party in the back.
Play in the back. Oh, it's, my hair needs colored. Look at that grow out there.
Ooh, that gross.
Ooh, boy.
I've been watching Brad Mondo. I can do that for you. Classic nephew artwork.
Yeah, that's Sam over here because she has red hair. And I think the pink is supposed to be me. I'm not sure. One of them is my dad, he said. That's your dad.
Oh, your dad?
Yeah.
So like his grandpa.
So grandpa.
That's so funny.
The other day he asked me, Brookie, do you have a dad? Yes, I do.
It's
it would
Grandpa.
Be it's Grandpa Matt, who is also your dad's dad. Oh, he said. Brookie, why are you so nice to me? Love that kid.
So today we are actually going to do our top 5s. And we have 5 categories that we picked kind of randomly. We were going through some of them today. And so anyway, we just picked 5. And we'll do these throughout. So if you have any ideas or things you want us to talk about, our top 5, blah, 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 you let us know and we'll do it. And
this will be a new series that we're starting this week. Like she was saying, doing different categories of top 5s. We did not tell each other what each other's top 5s were prior to this video so that we can also be surprised and ask follow-up questions as to why these are our top 5s. So we're just going to give you, we're going to try to give them to you in order, from 5 to 1.
like,
You know.
what, number 1 being the one that we're
Your
like
favorite.
crazy about.
Yeah.
And the 5 is like, this is our 5th most.
Yeah, and kind of give you a
That's how
little
that
bit
works.
of background information as to why. And then there might be some honorable mentions in there because some of it was like really hard to pick from. Or my mind just completely blanked when writing the list, and some of them might not even be true, and I just made something up to put in there. So, if that happens and I think of a better answer while we're talking,
We're going to put it in.
yeah, I'll put it in.
And I'll try to put them here.
On the screen.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And some of these things, we are the same person sometimes, and we'll probably have the same answers.
Maybe.
We'll put money on it. I'll buy you a coffee later. So, number 1, we're going to do bands. Okay?
Bands.
Bands. Because we're going to go in alphabetical order, and B starts with bands. I mean, bands.
B starts with bands.
Bands start with B, because we are 30-some years old, and I feel like over time our bands have changed. So we were doing like, should we do musical artists and bands? And we're just gonna, since there's so many genres and we know so many people in each genre, we're just gonna separate them. So right now, genre meaning bands.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess not genre.
You know, not like a single artist like Adele or something.
Correct.
It's a...
No, I forgot Adele. I would have ruined it.
Oh my gosh, I'm glad we separated it out.
Anyway, so today is bands. I'm really bad at all. That was crazy.
It was funny. Okay, so...
Do you want to go first?
I will go first.
Well, we'll do 5, 5, 4, 4.
Yes.
Yeah, is that what you want?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So number 5 for Brooke.
Coming in at number 5 for me, I have Dashboard Confessional.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, they were a staple band of my high school year. Talk about nostalgia. Also, she sheds like it's nobody's business, so I constantly find myself singing "Your Hair Is Everywhere" to her because it's just sprinkled across the horizon. But yeah, that band has a lot of... I feel like there's a lot of memories tied to a lot of their music. There was literally a question on Jeopardy about them, about being emo, and they were the answer to that. So like they're like the penultimate. Of
They are
emo.
the ultimate.
But I don't care how whiny they were. They bring joy in my heart.
All right.
So what's your number 5?
My number 5 is actually, I got into them here recently, and I was trying to put in some female influences, because some had fallen off the list, some had gained on, or whatever. But I really like the band Joseph. And for me, it's a lot about the 3 of them. I think they're sisters. There's 3 girls. They do harmonies. They each play an instrument. I just really enjoy them. I've never seen them live, and this is a fairly new addition to my list. And it was hard to break that down because, honorable mention, I wanted to put the Donnas in.
Yeah.
Because I really like the Donnas. But anyway, Joseph is it, I think. I really enjoy them for number 5. Number 4.
Number 4. You want to take a guess?
Taking next Sunday?
No.
Oh.
Cute as Wowie game.
I knew you were going to put on the list.
Yes, they have been a favorite. They were one of the first bands that I ever actually saw live. That was the first show I ever went to with you and your dad at the Attic. We went to see Amber Lynn, and they were opening for Amber Lynn. And that was, I just remember, like, I really like these guys.
Yeah, in Kettering, right?
In Kettering,
That's near Dayton.
Yeah. And I've liked them ever since.
Yeah.
Both, I think they only had the 2 albums, but I know every word to every song on both albums. Every song from start to finish was great.
Yeah.
That whole summer after that, we would just float around my pool and listening to the album on repeat. And Katie really liked that album with me too, so shout out to Katie. I don't know what they're up to now, but anytime one of their songs come on, it immediately lifts my spirits. So
that's a good pick.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4. Do you know what mine is? Number 4, Showbread. We had not just like musically, I had started getting into harder music, but these guys, it was more about personality, and I had watched interviews and stuff, that sort of thing. So that really got me into like who they were, and then to listen to their music on top of it. They were like painting their nails and doing makeup, and they had all black hair, and I fell in love with the all black Chucks. Because they were doing that all the time. But anyway, just really artistic guys. They love the Lord. And that was also a big deal because they were like loud, but then I knew that they also loved Jesus, and that was important. So anyway, Showbread number 4.
Yeah. And we also had some fun times with them at the Attic.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Live, not only with interviews and stuff, but thank you for reminding me. Yeah. Because we actually have gotten to talk to them multiple times. Anyway, just good memories with them, playing basketball with them in the back at the Attic, and became friends with their merch guy that was going on tour with them for a while back in the early 2000s, somewhere mid 2000s.
Number 3 coming in hot for me is My Chemical Romance.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Is it top 5?
A top 5. I love My Chemical Romance.
I was not expecting that for some reason.
Just all of their songs are just so epic and intense. You know what I mean? Like, you are feeling every second of one of their songs when you're listening to it. And then when you watch the music videos, it's like, I don't know. They're just good storytellers. Gerard is like, really puts his all into all of it. I liked them so much when their Black Parade album came out that I got 3 copies of it for Christmas from different people because they knew that I liked them so much. So, coincidentally though, they're one of the only bands that I really liked like that I have not seen live. So, I'm gonna try to watch out for reunion tours with them to see if I can.
Number 3 for me is p.o.d. Always been kind of in my life, it feels like, since I can remember as a teenager. So my first real concert, my dad took me with a friend of his, and then a few of us young teenagers. p.o.d. was playing with Blindside, and that was my first experience with like a rock concert, essentially, and fell in love with them. They've always just been there, and I had to leave them in my top 5 because that Satellite album is one of the top-notch albums.
Number 2 for me, I have Taking Back Sunday.
No doubt.
That band will always have a special place in my heart. I listen to them still to this day. Not so much their newer stuff. I mean, if it comes on, I'll listen to it. But those first few albums that they had, the Louder Now album, and then The one with Cute Without the E. That was
classic.
Yeah. And New American Classic. The album which was Louder Now, I think, that Make Damn Sure was on, was like a really good, because they did a whole like bonus album on it where they did all the songs live, and then you got those as well. So yeah. And they were a really fun live show.
I never saw them live.
Yeah, they were with Amber Lynn.
Yay. I don't know why we don't put Amber Lynn on here.
I know. That honorable mention, Amber Lynn. But yeah, Adam Lazzara was like, I think, boy bands aside, Adam Lazzara was my first band crush. Like, you know, like if they were playing close by, you made sure you went. That kind of band crush.
Yeah.
I remember one time we stayed up late on a school night because they were supposed to be on Conan O'Brien, and we stayed up to watch it, and he had bleach dyed his hair.
We were in shock.
I was
like, what's
devastated.
happening?
I'm like, no, I hate it so much. But
that was when he first dyed it ever.
Yeah.
He's dyed it a couple times since then, I think. But that was like, what,
it was,
I hadn't graduated yet.
My
so
little teenage heart was not ready for the drastic change that he made. He did not consult me before he did that.
Insulting.
But yeah, definitely. They were almost, I flip-flopped back and forth for them and the person that I have at number one. Well, not person,
okay.
But band that I have at number one.
Also, can you hear Brooke better today?
I'm trying to speak loudly for you.
We're proud of you. I put you on the right side this time, so we'll see. I don't know if that matters.
I don't know.
But yes. See you next Sunday. Good call. Adam Lazzara himself.
Yes.
My number 2 is a band called For Today. I think my brother was in high school. I think I was in college because I had taken them to the show for his 18th birthday, and him and his friends, and there was this tour going on, and I really started to listen to this band, and it was all loud. And you can listen to all these bands. I'm not going to put a clip in or anything, but if you have any desire, I will list all of their Instagrams at the bottom in the description of this video. For Today, they just have a message to go along with everything that they're about, and it's about Jesus first and foremost. How loud they are. You know, they're always saying, they're not together anymore, but if you are offended at how loud this is, you're not going to like heaven very much because heaven's loud. And I always just really appreciated that. That stuck with me. Anytime we listen to it in the car or whatever, there's always goosebumps. What they say is truth, and I just like what they stand for. And I think now the lead singer, Maddie Montgomery, is a pastor somewhere in Tennessee, which I'd love to go visit. I just like what they're all about in their lyrics. Every song is the truth about the Lord, about Jesus. So anyway, that's my number 2.
Drum roll number 1 for me. And this, like I said, was barely on top of Take It Back Sunday. But I went with them because I listen to them constantly still to this day. They have such a huge album array to choose from. But it is Death Cab for Cutie.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like I don't know you at all.
I know. Ben Gibbard, he's done solo stuff, but even
married Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah. But I
wonder how loud that is.
Can you hear the cicadas? But yeah, Death Cab for Cutie, they have a song for every mood that I have too. You know what I mean? Like I can find something out of their whole discography for every mood that I find myself in. And I like that. Definitely, I'd say they tipped out to number 1 for me just because of how consistently I still listen to them.
That's cool.
And their newer stuff that is coming out, I still really like it. And they're one of those bands that a new song could come out and I've never heard it before, and their sound is so recognizable that I'm immediately like, this is Death Cab. I just recognize them anywhere, so that's why they take the number 1 spot for me.
I like that. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I would not have put that at number 1. I don't know what I would think you were number 1 would be.
I don't know.
All right, number 1 for me. Can you guess? Yes.
Story of the Year?
No.
No?
Oh my god.
Honorable mention?
Honorable mention!
Oh no, she forgot!
Falling Up.
Yes, I
Yeah.
should have known that. I didn't know if it was still.
I think because of all time and the love that I had for them, where I was made fun of for it, where I would go to youth group and that's what all the guys were like, oh, did you see Falling Up? They're not a band anymore. And I'm like, what? They're like, just kidding. I was devastated. Anyway, I followed them around for the greater part of 2004. And that was like from friends that could drive, and I'm like, hey, they're going to be in Columbus. We have to go. Do you want to take me? And they're like, yeah, let's go. Or my dad, I was like, we need to go to this place. And he's like, fine, let's go. So, Falling Up was number one for a very, very long time. And I think when you were talking about Adam Lazar being like your first band crush, I just really liked Josh Troy, the drummer. And, to the point where he probably thought I was crazy. There's that girl again. She's in the crowd. Anyway, 2004, what am I, 15? Like, I can only do so much. But anyway, I really enjoyed. Anyway, Falling Up, the Crashings album is number one. It's when I first started loving them. Coming out with one last album, and then Jesse said they're done. I love Falling Up. You want to do fandoms? The next one in the list is an F. For fandom.
F starts with fandom.
All right, number 5. You want me to start?
Yeah, you start.
My fandoms meaning just huge fans of.
I would consider you a part of a fandom if you have researched anything, like what's going on with this show. What did the author?
But that's what
about
I do about everything.
But more so than other, or you're wanting updates on something, or if you look at fan art about things, or if you've read any fan fiction about something like that, or you're like, I would buy that merch, you're in the fandom.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Or if you would pay money to see this person at a con.
Okay, we did that many times. I'm starting with number 5, The Walking Dead. I think we were in it so hard for a long time from the beginning up. We would watch it every Sunday, and because when they started promoting Subway, we were like, we should get Subway because The Walking Dead will be on tonight, and we need Subway before it starts. And that's when it would come on the TV, not just
streaming.
AMC. Yeah, they would play
every week. We were subliminally messaged with Subway.
Mind control.
Yes, so we had to have
agree.
it. But yeah, I would say that's a good example.
Yeah, it's my number 5.
Yeah.
That's why I'm starting my list. Because then we watched The Talking Dead too.
Yes,
Sorry.
You're fine.
Well, The Talking Dead afterwards, we were that committed.
Yes, with Chris Hardwick.
Yeah, and then we ended up from there. We ended up going to a Chris Hardwick comedy show because we knew he did stand up. So it's good. Yeah. Full
Number 5 for me, I have the
I'm so nervous.
2016 version of MacGyver. I started watching that show on accident because I wanted to start Magnum P.I. and I clicked the wrong thing and I was like, I'm invested now. Got really into it. They got 5 seasons in. The whole pandemic stuff started happening. Theories that I had from season one were coming true, and I was just really in it. And then the pandemic hit, and it got crazy. Their seasons got just cut short, and then the thing that I wanted to happen was on the precipice of happening. I could almost see it, and then they canceled it, and I was devastated about it. Like to the point where I'm like, I did not start this, but someone in the fandom started petitions to get other networks to try to pick it up. And that went on for a really long time.
I did not start
that. It wasn't me. I wasn't at that level in the fandom. This is my number 5. Okay. But it got a lot of news traction and stuff actually picked up. They had people donate and they bought billboards across the country. Rude, that is so loud.
So loud.
To try to get this picked up, but what was that? Anyway, it never got picked back up. So that was kind of a bummer. But it was one that it just was a feel-good fun show. I loved watching the scientific part of it, everything, how he got out of everything, and the family dynamics on that show were really great. The friendship found family type situation. And I had a good time watching it with friends of mine who enjoyed watching it as well. So that is why that comes at number 5 for me.
It's a good 5.
Yeah,
for you.
Number 5 for me.
I'm gonna go number 4, and this might be a shock, but it's Bridgerton.
At 4? I'm so upset.
I know. It's because it's fairly new to me. There are aspects of it that probably will get further on down the line. We'll talk about it. But Bridgerton is number 4 for me. I really do. What really was, I'm like, Bridgerton as a whole, why do I like it so much? And I think, we have talked about this, the family dynamic in that show where there's 8 siblings, there's 4 girls, 4 boys, it's very, how they love each other, how they take care of each other. It's like, I just really enjoy the family aspect of it. The books, as a fan, not only did I watch the show, it started that way, but I'm like, oh man, all these are novels, and we read all of them, and I've read them almost twice completely through. I've got 2 more to do. To fall in love with that author, and then read other things that she's done. I just think Bridgerton is very smart, and it may look shallower on the surface, if that makes sense. Very colorful, and it's not Regency, and blah, blah, blah. Right. Scheme. But I think down underneath of it, like, we've even done Enneagram types for each one. Yeah. And, like, we've gotten into it so much because there's so much to look at. And not just, the steamy fun stuff, but it is the family dynamic, the dynamics between all of them. Yeah. And I really, really, really like them that way. And that's just number 4. So, I don't know what your number 4 is.
Oh, I put my number 4 actually as The Walking Dead. It was a big one for me for the longest time.
It was big.
It was big. I feel like, honestly, it was probably the first, like, real fandom that I was a part of.
Yeah.
Because...
I agree.
Yeah.
And it brought you to other people.
Yes, and that's why I'm putting it on here. Yeah. I have met so many amazing people through being a fan of that show. Like, not just friends with them on the internet. I mean, like, traveling to meet them at cons, or just we become good enough friends that we travel cross country just to spend time with each other now. And even though we don't even watch the show anymore, like, I'm seasons behind on that show, but
we haven't even kept up with it like we should have.
Yeah, but the friends that I have made because of that show, that it will always be on my list, just simply because of that. And I feel like it was the first big thing that I was able to, like, really rally behind and care about, like, oh my gosh, this is big. Like how a lot of people are, like, really into the Marvel stuff. Yeah. And it's like, there's just so much to get into because it had so much source material and stuff with all the comic books.
Well, I was going to say, I even got into the comics a little bit. Like, I didn't buy them. They were online.
Anything that has some sort of source material, like book adaptation type thing, I enjoy it a lot. So it was just something that was new. Like, that wasn't, like, when that first came out on TV, everybody was like, whoa, like, you didn't really see a lot of it. Like, the whole concept of it was just really good. And then I've met a lot of the actors from that show because of going to cons and things like that. So it was just that's why it's really interesting. But because it's kind of in the past, and I haven't invested into it in a long time, that's why it's so low on my list. Right. But yeah, Walking Dead.
I got a number 3 that is my guilty pleasure, and I'm not very happy about my situation, but I love the Sturniolo Triplets. They're my number 3, and they don't need plugged. They don't need it. They have so many people that support them, and they're doing so well. I enjoy them. I know she's even said that because I'm like, oh gosh, I'm worried that I'm like forcing her to watch some of these videos. But as a fan, we grew up with kid brothers. We had friends like that growing up, and so when we watch them and they're giving each other a hard time or they're being ridiculous, are we upset sometimes that they give Matt a hard time? Yes.
Poor Matt. Leave Matt alone.
Leave Matt alone. There was something missing, and then we watch these kids, and then it feels
nostalgic
sometimes. Yeah. Do they talk about things and talk differently than we did when we were growing up? Yes. But it's still the same feeling, and anyway, I just really appreciate them, and they're my number 3.
I think that comes back to, like, going back to your number 4 with Bridgerton, it's that brother dynamic. The brothers,
I love it so much.
Something about it is just very authentic to watch. Like, they're just themselves, and I think that's why they're so entertaining. Like, they're not...
They are themselves, like, and I appreciate that a lot. Because sometimes that's hard for us here, I think. It's like they get so loud really fast. Out of nowhere. I think that's hard sometimes, like when I don't want to talk about my age or I don't want to talk about certain things and I'm like, shut it down, I don't want to talk about it. I think that's good for a boundary sometimes. But if it's something ridiculous like that, I should be able to do that. And I'm jealous of them being able to do that sometimes because I want to keep parts of me hidden that shouldn't be. I think. But
plus, they're just funny.
They're so great. I really do love them.
Like, they're so far, like, I hope this is not insulting. Not that they'll ever see this, but it's almost like watching reality TV. Like, you know, when reality TV is a guilty pleasure because it's so far removed of what your actual life looks like.
Yeah.
Like, that's how they're so much younger than us, and they're so, like, just over the top about everything. But then each of them individually has something that you can identify with because ultimately they're just people.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're funny. You should check them out if you can tolerate large amounts of yelling.
Yeah, they're funny.
Then you'll find them funny.
Agreed. Number 3 for you?
My number 3 I have on here for the same reason that I have The Walking Dead on here, and that is the Boondock Saints.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, it's such a like cult classic fandom. You know, like you've either seen that movie and love it, or you have never seen it or never heard of it. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a you love it or you don't know. I've never really heard somebody say that they hate it.
I don't hate it, but I'm not into it like you
right.
are. But I do enjoy them. I enjoy the story because it's funny.
The story's funny. Mm-hmm. But so much has come out of that fandom for me with being friends with people that I can never leave it off my list. And it's like, this is so weird because it's about murder, but it's like a comfort movie for me. I can put it in and just, I know what's going to happen. They're entertaining Irish accents running around being crazy.
Even that cat scene.
Yeah,
it's a comfort movie for me.
It is, though. You know, like the movies you watch when you're young and like you know every single word. That's how I feel about that movie. The second one was, you know, it's not the first one. The first one is where this fandom is coming from for me. And yeah, one of my best friends that I made was a woman named Nancy, who was in her 70s and in love with this movie. She was Irish Catholic and it was right up, she's from Massachusetts, thick accent and all, and I got the privilege of spending a lot of time getting to know her before she passed away. So it was just really, really good bonding, and I've met a lot of other really great friends from it as well. So number 3, the Boondock Saints.
It's a good choice. Yeah. I knew it was coming somewhere. I didn't know if it would be number 1. My number 2 comes from the Bridgerton world, and I am just gonna do it. I'm the fandom. I'm part of the fandom of the Polins, where Penelope is a character, Colin is a character. They end up being a couple in the books in the show. Maybe if they put it out.
For real though.
What is happening now?
It's her neighbor.
Okay. Alice?
No, Nancy.
Oh, Nancy. Oh. So Polin is just something that's near and dear to my heart, which we've been talking about tropes a lot. And I don't even realize that I enjoy these things until this scenario comes up and you're like, oh yeah, it's a friends to lovers thing. And I'm like, oh my god, it is! I just love it so much. And secretly want it to be my life. Friends to lovers. But I'm really a fan of Penelope and Colin. Penelope being kind of a wallflower, nerdy girl who's really into books and letters, and I'm not going to give anything away for you, but Colin is essentially an adventurer, kind of like he runs away from his problems a lot, and kind of a charmer, and they end up together in the book. I'm not spoiling any of that for you, but there is other things.
She's best friends with his little sister, and you know she's been around him the majority of her life, so it's all the good book tropes in there. Yes. Their relationship.
It gives me there's hope. You know what I mean? So I appreciate it. I'm sure you people who know what I'm talking about watch Bridgerton or have read the books who Polin is, and I'm just a fan of that. So I'm part of the Polin fandom. Secretly.
Not anymore. Secret's out. Number 2 for me. I'm still debating if I want to change my mind between my 1 and my 2. It's that close.
I have an idea.
Number 2 for me, I have got the Sarah J. Maas universe. Yeah. That is...
All of them.
It's all of them. There's like 15 books. I am so invested in her writing right now. I just cannot put the stuff down, except for the last book that I read. So
you're
really
saying Sarah J. Maas universe.
Her entire universe.
Everything that
so
she has
you've
written
got,
so far.
Because it's all supposed to be connected in one universe. So I did all of ACOTAR. I am on Heir of Fire in the Throne of Glass series right now. I'm almost finished with that. So I did Throne of Glass, and I did book 2, and then I did the prequel, and now I'm on Heir of Fire. And then so there's 4 more. There's 4 more in the series after the one I'm on right now. And then Crescent City, which there's 2 of those already published, and then the 3rd one of that comes out in January. So it's like a whole thing. It's a commitment if you're gonna read her stuff. But I think that's part of the reason why I like it so much. Her writing is just so detailed, and nothing is pointless in what she writes. So if she's got it in there, it'll come back to be important later if it's not important immediately when she's saying it. Like, her world building is fun, you know, especially ACOTAR was a little bit less on the world building and more focused on the characters and the relationships, which that was fine. You know, I really enjoy that. A lot of the relationship dynamics and like the focus on the different traumas that they go through, like a character study of people and how trauma really affects people. She does a really good job with her writing in that aspect. And then the plot and the world building is kind of like in the background of those books. It's mostly about the characters and their relationships. But Throne of Glass so far, there's so much, it just feels so much bigger. It is very plot driven, and then the relationships kind of take the back seat, which, not that her characters aren't developed in that, they are. It's just, there's just so much, and you find yourself connecting with so many different characters and wanting to know why this person did that, and you really like this person, and you find a loyalty to this character, so you don't want to like this one because you shouldn't like them, but then you do because she just makes them so well-rounded, even if there's parts of them that you can't stand. So her writing is just very dynamic. I know that's probably so basic white girl of me because everybody likes these books, but I was drug my feet so long. Like, she's been an author for a really long time. These books have been out. Anyway, she's just very, very good at hooking you into what she's writing. I think the fandom for her, especially for ACOTAR, is very immersed and very deep. Like, that fan art that you see of people putting out, literally artists on TikTok creating their own music and songs based on chapters and certain chapters in certain books. Like, there's this girl named Mac Lauren who has a really interesting song that she just put out this year for one of the ACOTAR books, and it's just really easy. Like, if you get on Etsy, you can see the fandom everywhere. If you type in ACOTAR, there's people make shirts, people have candles, people have, like, whatever, any type of merch or artwork that people are selling.
I'm gonna be interested to see what you put as number 1, because
I've been talking about this forever.
I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what.
I'm sorry, I'll shut up now. But anyway, number 2 for me is the Sarah J. Maas world. So.
This is gonna. Do you even know what my number 1 would be? It's gonna be a very big shock to you.
Shock?
Yes. My whole life. I'm saying since we're doing from like day 1 of being alive.
I don't know.
Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Okay,
I've always been a
major
fan. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I've always been a major fan. Growing up, trying to get all the hairstyles and the clothes that they put out, like the Mary-Kate and Ashley brand, before they made it big with the stuff. Like, I'm saying when they were, I would say, in elementary school to high school. But I watched all the movies, read all the chapter books. They did the Mary-Kate Olsen and Olsen Mystery Agency. Mm-hmm. Like, I watched all those shows like that. My kid brother was watching Barney, and then I'm like, let's watch Mary-Kate and Ashley. And so, anyway, that from day 1, and I'd say I'm still a fan. because when they're in stuff, I want to watch it. Just anything that they're in, I try to get it. Now, I don't really care that much about Elizabeth Olsen. Sorry about it. But I do love the twins. And there's just something about twins and triplets. I just love it so much. I'm like, what's all about? And then I end up having nephews who are twins.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of Mary-Kate and Ashley. Always wanted to be Mary-Kate. And, but granted, I'm 5'10", she's 5 foot. And anyway, here we are.
Here we are.
But I've loved them since I was young. Number
Makes
one.
sense. Yeah. Thank you. That's not surprising. That checks.
Okay, cool.
My number one, which is probably not surprising for you, is Bridgerton. For a lot of the same reasons that she said, the family dynamics are amazing. Like, the romance is great, but where it's at for me is when you're getting interactions between all the siblings and them and their mother. The interactions with them and their mom are just, because she caters her love to each child, and you can really tell that a lot of care has gone in to writing her as a character. And just, again, exploring the traumas that each of them have gone through with their birth ages and responsibilities that some of them have had to take on, and it's...
The birth order is really interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
I enjoy it.
Like she said too, we did a read through of just reading them.
We read them together. After we read them by ourselves at one point. Yeah.
But when we read them together, we did a whole Enneagram overview of them, and which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point, maybe on a podcast or just an Enneagram video that we do for you. But just, it's really good source material for looking at things that way. Because she... sorry. Anyway, I think why I'm putting it number one is because it had been a really long time since I realized how much I forgot how much I love to read. I had not read a book in years and years and years and years. And then we just randomly put the show on. Like, it had been out for at least a season.
Because then we were on the second
was out. Yeah. It wasn't something that I like ran to watch. It was like, ooh, we just had nothing to watch one night and put it on. And then realized it was based off books, and I wanted to know what the next sibling story was after season 2 was over, because I was so invested in their family.
Yep.
But it just really reignited my love for reading, and I feel almost grateful because of it.
Yeah.
Because I've regained a passion that I forgot about, so... That is why it is number one for me, Bridgerton fandom. And again, I've met a lot of good friends that I like to talk to because of it. It's got me back into writing as well. So just exploring what those characters would do in different settings, different eras. And then, so like writing or even editing for other writers who are doing. So it's opened up a lot of different hobbies for me, and I really appreciate it.
Well, going to those plays were based off of the two of the characters that are in the show. Those guys that played it were in those 2 plays we went to in London. Yeah. So all full circle. It's bringing us into other avenues of things, which is for sure. TV shows next. You go first. Number 5.
Number 5, I have Elementary. I've loved Johnny Lee Miller and since he was young and all these awesome things that he's acting in. I love the new modern twist that they've got on it with John Watson being Joan and what they do with Moriarty, so it was really cool. I like that.
My number 5, again, we're going through years and years of love for, and I watch TV as a small person. Number 5 for me is Saved by the Bell. And you want to know why? I love the dynamic of 6 people, main characters, being in a show, they go to school, and I wasn't in high school when they were all on the show. The 6, Kelly Kapowski, Zach Morris, Screech, all of them, that I literally named all my Barbies after them when I would play Barbie. I didn't have a Screech doll because I wanted him to be creepy and gross. So my brother had a Woody doll from Toy Story, and I would make him be Screech. Anyway, Saved by the Bell, I love it so much. Even the new class when they went to college, followed it in there. I just really like that show.
Yeah, I can see that. Number 4 for me, Smallville. Smallville. I've got number 4. Yeah.
I'm surprised.
One, I haven't watched it in a really long time.
I get it.
But it was like that first TV show that I'm like, oh man, and I followed it, because it was, I think when it came out, when I first started watching it, I think maybe it had 2 seasons out already, and it's when you could still buy, well, I mean, you still can buy them, but you bought the seasons on DVD and watched them like that, because there wasn't anything streaming. You just had to wait week to week to watch it. It was one of the first that I followed for a really long time. I think, I think there's 10 seasons of that show. I've got the whole box set on DVD that my friend Tracy got me for Christmas. It was like one of the best Christmas presents I've ever got. It was so nice. But yeah, I think it was the first like superhero thing that I really cared about. But let's be honest, it was just because Tom Welling was like a total dreamboat. But it was the start of an era, I feel like. And after that came Supernatural and all of those, and One Tree Hill and everything I started watching. The CW was where it was at for a really long time.
Number 4 for me was Boy Meets World. Classic show. She and I have been rewatching it again, and just realizing the ages that we are now compared to when we watched it the first time, of who we were just really into and who we related to most. Because now we're like, Mr. Turner, that English teacher, bro. Whereas before, she was into Sean, you know what I mean? So it's just different how, as you get older and who you appreciate a little bit more. But been listening to the podcast that they've been rewatching it also, so it kind of made me want to rewatch, and so I have been. So that's what's number 4. Yeah.
Number 3 for me, bringing it back, Bridgerton. We've talked about this a lot. Don't really need to go into detail about it, but it's a feel-good. You know when you watch that show what you're getting into.
I'm surprised it's not like up closer to your number 1. Like,
nah, I got 2. I got 2 big ones that I'm into. But yeah, it's what you're gonna get with it. You never have to wonder, will they, won't they? They will. They will.
Right.
So it's kind of you already feel less stressed out about it going into it, because they're gonna get over whatever conflict that they have, if they keep to the books. We'll see.
Number 3 for me is Stranger Things.
Making sure?
Yes. Stranger Things for me, number 3. I just think that whole world is crazy. I think it's cool that they went back to the 80s. The storyline of it, falling in love with Joseph Quinn this last season, and just the Duffer Brothers, the other things that they have written and been a part of. They just do a really great job, and I appreciate them also. Yeah. Stranger Things, number 3.
Stranger Things.
Number
2 for me, I have Ted Lasso. It's a good one. It is, the writing on that show is everything that you want it to be. Like, the fan service, you know what I mean? Like, it's just everything you're looking for. That's what they're giving. It's such a satisfying watch. Season 3 was a little shaky for a minute for me. It was
because it's done now.
Yeah, but by the time they got to the end of it, I'm like, okay, this feels like them again. Just like the character work on this show, the relationship dynamics, the growth that you're seeing with everybody. It was just, I love it. I mean, I don't even know how many times I've rewatched that show. So many
Another
times.
good, easy,
like, it's an easy watch. Jason Sudeikis, yeah, great. So I've got that one at number 2.
My number 2 is actually Bridgerton.
Is it? Okay.
Because I just appreciate the dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it helps also because I like the books so much that I like pro Bridgerton on the screen, anything. So, yeah.
Number 1 for me, and every time I say it, you scoff at me about it. But it's my favorite. You're like, what? Really?
Wait! Vampire Diaries?
No. Absolutely not. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, It's Always Sunny. Oh my God. Number 1 every time.
See, every time. For real? Really it is? That show, not to get like too deep about anything, but when I was going through periods of depression, I needed to laugh. That show never failed to make me laugh. It is so ludicrous and just ridiculous. Everything they do is ridiculous. The characters are so unhealthy.
Yeah.
But the writing that these guys do, it is so, the humor and the writing is so witty and intelligent. Like, they can make fun of themselves and you, and you're laughing and you don't even realize that you're being made fun of until later. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. That was about me, but I thought it was really funny. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, they just, And they push the envelope sometimes, but sort of in that way where they're making you think about it, because it's kind of satirical a lot, you know, like their take on things. But they don't take themselves too seriously, so they make fun of themselves, and they make fun of political things that are happening. They make fun of things that are happening in the, you know, media in general, or even
well, and I've heard them on their podcast when they talk about you're supposed to be mad at them. You're supposed to find them because they're the antithesis of who they actually are. Right. Because they don't believe the things that they're putting out there.
But they're just so entertaining. I think it's so funny. I know a lot of people say they hate that show because there's so much yelling. They're so loud and they're constantly yelling over each other. Like, my face hurts. I laugh so hard sometimes when I finish watching that. Yeah. And it just... And the bloopers that they have are always really funny, and I don't know. They're a really good dynamic to work, like all the work that they do together
for so long, and it's worked for so many
they're
years.
On like season 15 or something, and to think that it started with them literally like with like a handheld camera, and they're filming this, trying to sell it to FX.
It's
like it's just, I think it's so funny. I know it offends a lot of people, but I don't know. And then their podcast is great too. Like listening to them delve into it. So anyway, that's my number one because I need to laugh.
My actual number one is Ted Lasso because it clicks every box that I have, and I don't have to say much more. But just it's a beautiful show. Yeah. It just works so well, and I enjoy every episode. We had some rough episodes in season 3, but I do enjoy it. It's a really great show. Character development is the best.
So that's where we're at. Just some fun top 5s. We'll do another version of this video with a different list of top 5s. If you guys have anything that you even care about knowing what our top 5s are, put them in the comments and we'll try to do them for you. So we hope you guys enjoyed this. If it was too long, we're sorry. We talk. And then we'll see you guys next week for what we should have some
surprise content.
Surprise content coming up.
Got a special guest.
Special guest coming, and it'll be fun. Yeah, so thanks for sticking with us. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you can be alerted whenever we post. Leave us some comments. We like interacting with you guys.
Yeah. Any ideas you have you want to see us do, put them on there. It doesn't have to be top 5. Just whatever. We'll take some risks and step out of our comfort zones a little bit. Make Brooke eat weird jelly beans. She doesn't want to do that. I want her to eat jelly beans with me.
I've already tried them. I don't need to know what
That's not the point. You do it for the people.
Like again.
Yes, you do.
Anyway, bye. Thanks, guys. Bye.